What's up, everybody? I am Hunter, aka Drummer Dude Guy, and welcome to Drumchatta, a vlogcast for musicians and music lovers alike. We are at episode 1. Thank you so much for joining me on whatever device you may be watching at whatever time, wherever in the world that you may be watching. Drumchatta is a show talking all things music. I'm a musician. I've been a musician for most of my life. I've listened to music most of my life, which, you know, it's kind of funny to say, but who really hasn't? I'm a drummer, I'm a radio guy, and this is my outlet to vent and talk about all of the wonderful things in the music world, and some of the bullshit that goes along with it as well, because we know that there's plenty of that, especially if you're in the music scene. And you know, I think it's healthy that sometimes we talk about those things and we come together as a community to possibly fix any sort of issues that we might have. Each episode is going to have a different topic. Of course, we're going to be jumping off topic. We're going to be derailing all sorts of trains because, if you know me, I've got a huge case of ADD and ADHD, and I just can't seem to stay on topic. It's like, squirrel, squirrel. I'm like the craziest golden retriever at the dog park that you've ever seen in your entire life. I also encourage open discussion, so if you see something or if you think of something that you would enjoy me talking about on the show or you would like to talk about, feel free to jump into those DMs and send me something that we can talk about it together. I have a lot of different episodes planned out. Each one is going to have a main topic, but like I said, we're probably going to talk about 2 or 3 subtopics in each episode. I'm going to be talking about good gear versus bad gear. I'm a drummer, so I'm always trying out different sorts of gear. I'm always watching videos on what's trendy or what's not trendy. One of the reasons that I got a curved table for the office is so I could have most of my recording in a computer equipment right here. And then on this side, I can put a snare drum or a tom or a piece of music equipment that I'm working on and show you guys tuning techniques. I can show you guys how I repair things, how I do different sounds, to basically achieve what I want to achieve as being a musician. We're going to be talking about different drum setups. We're going to be talking about influencing artists and albums. That's right. This is not another channel where we're going to be doing a bunch of top 10 lists, but I do have a few lists that I want to talk about. I know last year I planned on doing a video on my favorite albums of 2021, but we're just going to go ahead and blame it on the pandemic, just like everyone else blames everything on the pandemic. I wasn't able to get it done, but here we're going to be able to get it done because now I actually have a vlogcast channel to be able to do these things for you guys and to do them for my own enjoyment. We're also going to be talking about my favorite musicians and your favorite musicians we particularly like or may not like. I know there's some drummers out there that I'm not really that into, but put out some incredible material. And I'm going to be talking about them just as well because they deserve all of the appreciation in the world and more. We're also going to be talking about your worst and best gig experiences a little bit later in the show. Plus, on a different episode, I'm going to be talking about my life as a musician, playing in a band that tours around the state of Alaska and also plays at your local watering hole. I've played my fair share of 1 or 2 bad gigs, and we're going to be talking about all those, and those experiences are super fun. Plus, I'm going to be talking about the best show experiences that I have because there are a couple shows that are definitely life-changing for sure. Also, I've got an episode planned out for my drum life story. This one's going to be kind of like my radio voice story. It's going to be more of an introduction to the channel and how we got here and what we're doing now. I have so many different things we're going to talk about. I'm way excited. I kind of feel like my brain is this like bowl of water that's just constantly tipping over with ideas. Also, what I'm going to do is when I was in radio, part of my daily show is I did a current event, a historical event, and something that's going on in the local community. The Matanuska Brewing Company, for example, is one of the best, if not the best venue in the state of Alaska. Last week, I just got done seeing Spin Doctors there. If you guys don't know Spin Doctors, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, Two Princesses? I don't know. Whatever. Really good band from the 90s. They came up to Alaska and absolutely killed it. If you have me on social media, I posted some really cool pictures. Shout out to Chris Barron, their lead singer. Thank you for the selfie with the kiddo and me. It was really awesome. This year, anyways, jumping off topic a little bit, but not really, at the Matanuska Brewing Company, they have a super awesome lineup of national acts and local acts. They've got Tesla, Candlebox, Saliva, Night Ranger, Starship, you know, that band that was, we built this city on rock and roll, Tone deaf. I'm a drummer. Sorry. Deal with it. They have a few tribute bands coming up. I think last night they had Stone in Love, which is a Journey tribute band, which I saw some video footage of, heard a lot of reviews, and people said it was kick-ass. I'm really excited for Washed in Black. It's a Pearl Jam tribute band. I'm a huge 90s grunge fan. I get a lot of shit for this, but I don't really care. Creed is one of my favorite bands, and I will die on this hill. If anybody out there wants to start a Creed cover band, you call me. Anyways, we're going to see a bunch of really cool shows. I'm playing a bunch of really cool shows. There's also some really cool local artists that I'm going to be talking about on the show. If you're a local artist out there and want me to chat about you a little bit or talk about you or with you, feel free to jump in the inbox and let's get something going. I want to talk to more local musicians. I want to be as supportive as I can. Being a local musician myself, I absolutely love it. I love when you have your friends that come to your show and then you go to their shows and you throw each other the signs and do the, that's the all musicians compliment is the, yeah, if you get that from a musician in the crowd, you are doing a kick-ass job. And my knees keep hitting this table. I got to figure out something. It's a little smaller, but I'm really happy with it. I found this on Marketplace. I had been looking for a desk for a while for the studio, and I found one. $75, got it from a really awesome guy. He's in the military. He's an air traffic controller from, I think he said he just got stationed over here from Turkey. So shout out if you're watching. Thank you so much for the table. The phone that you see behind me was provided by 95.5 The Past, a wonderful, wonderful folks down there, Josh and Bryce. I do some freelance work with them from time to time. I'll be talking about that here in a little bit. I've got my Steve Vai poster. Well, this is one of my favorite records of all time. This is Sex and Religion. It's by Steve Vai. It's got Steve Vai, Devin Townsend, which I have a poster of Devin Townsend right by my bed. I wake up and I see him every single morning. He's my musical idol. I'll probably have an episode where I talk about him. He's one of those guys where he's influenced almost every aspect of my life, musically and personally. His philosophies and his moralities are something that I aspire to be, and he's definitely the kind of person I want to be when I grow up. Anyways, Terry Bozzio, however you want to say his name, was on drums for this record, and this is one of the only records where I think it sounds like he's playing regular instead of that 400 million piece drum set that he has. If you haven't seen a picture of that or a video of that, just YouTube Terry Bozzio. It's incredibly insane. Also, TM Stevens on bass guitar. That guy is absolutely incredible. Hop on YouTube and watch Steve Vai, Here and Now, I believe is the song. It's live. It's on a late show. It's when Devin Townsend was like 19 years old. The bass in that is wickedly on fire. And as a drummer, most drummers out there would agree and know that you want to lock in with that bass player. You want it to... You guys want to mesh. Like, you two are the guys that keep it happening. And a band is only as good as its drummer. And a very, very good quote by one of my favorite drummers, Gavin Harrison, is, it's the band's job to keep time. It's the drummer's job to make the time interesting. And I really, really enjoy that. And that's a quote that I'm not going to say I take to heart because that just sounds cheesy and bandwagony, but it's something I think about often. Being in the kind of band that I'm in a cover band. We play everything under the sun. You have to have some sort of diversity, especially in the metronome up here. And when you go from playing a country song to a pop song and then into a rock song, you got to be able to work out that time, and you got to be able to make sure that you know what you're doing, or else you're going to sound like an absolute train wreck. Anyways, quick sip of water. And you're probably wondering, how come there's no editing or you're not cutting away and doing all things sort of like that? I wanted to take more of a live approach to this. I've always been kind of a one-take guy. Even when I was in radio, sometimes I just like going, I've always been kind of good at that. Sometimes I'm terrible at that. Episodes 1 through 5 are probably going to be a little sporadic-y just because I'm figuring myself out. That's how it is when you're always, when you're new to something. Anyways, for this first episode, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit how I got here, a little bit of my radio history, a little bit of my voice history, why in the heck I'm sitting in front of a camera in a studio that I put in my house to do this. Why am I here? So anyways, when I was a kid, I used to make funny little radio shows with my cousin on my brother's computer. He had one of those early Mac Pro desktops where it was one of the early models where it was the monitor and then it didn't have the separate tower thing next to it. Everything was in the screen and it was one of the coolest things ever. Well, it had a couple of programs on there. It had Ableton, Cakewalk, GarageBand, and Fruity Loops. And I played with all of those. GarageBand was probably one of my most favorite. And what we would do is we would create our own radio shows. Me and my cousin Lance would pretend that we were these two radio hosts, and our show was called Men on Metal. And that influence came from, at the time, I was watching a lot of VH1 Classic, and on VH1 Classic, there was a show called That Metal Show with Don Jamieson, Eddie Trunk, and Jim Florentine. And we were heavily, heavily influenced by that. And I still follow Jim Florentine and Eddie Trunk on social media. I haven't really seen what Don Jamieson's been doing. If you're alive, I hope all is well. And they still influence me a little bit to this day because Eddie Trunk was a big radio guy, and I used to listen to him a whole lot. And I still follow him a little bit, and he's been a huge influence on me right now. And even when I was a kid doing those silly little radio shows. Well, what we would do is me and my cousin Lance, we would make theme songs. We would give ourselves these silly DJ names. Gosh, I'm trying to remember what mine was. He was Johnny Guy, and I don't remember. I really can't remember. It was so funny and ridiculous. It was crazy. And this was a time before we had vlogs and podcasts and YouTube shows and all these things that you have access to now. We did it as fun. We had no idea that there would actually be things like that in the future. And sometimes I sit back and I see all these kids and these guys that have just made millions of dollars and have millions of views on basically the same precipice that we had on GarageBand and Ableton, and I knock my head against the wall sometimes because if only I would have been 10 years earlier. Yes, hindsight is 20/20. I know. Part of me would almost kill to be an 8-year-old playing drums on the internet nowadays because the endorsements and the and the sponsorships would just fly right through the door. And I think that's incredible, by the way. That's not a diss at all. I absolutely think it's incredible when I see some little kid who is playing a song flawlessly, and I'm trying to figure that song out for the past 4 years, and I can't even get the kick and snare pattern down. It just makes me want to throw my drums out of this window here that's on the second story, and it would probably destroy them. But, you know, that's why you have multiple drum sets. Anyways, jumping a little off topic, jumping back into the topic, me and my cousin making silly radio shows. So what we would also do is we would do fake call-ins. We would like hold our nose and be like, oh, I really don't like how you're just doing all this loud metal music, and, you know, do the whole parents complaining about their kids listening to music. And then we would have other people call in and be like, you need to let your kids listen to anything that they want to listen to. And it was just really fun. And now, after working in radio, that kind of stuff is real. And that's what inspired me. And it's what inspires me to this day. I found love and joy in watching VH1 Classic. Early 2000s VH1 Classic was the GOAT of all music TV. It had shows like Metal Mania, which I would watch till 2, 3, or 4 in the morning. And what that was it was a TV show dedicated to hair metal, black metal, death metal. They played all the good shit that you didn't hear on the radio. I mean, the stuff that would get you grounded. They played all of that stuff. That's how I was introduced to bands like Slipknot and Cold Chamber and Mushroom Head and Korn. It's how I got introduced to those bands. Also, VH1 Classic was one of the only TV shows at the time that still did any sort of interviews with musicians, and I loved that. And that's something that also inspired me because, again, before the time we had YouTube and vlogs and podcasting and that sort of thing, the only way you got to talk to a musician and learn anything about their gear or anything about their guitar style of play or learn anything about them was a booked interview or catching them and saying, hey, can I ask you a couple of questions? And hoping that they would say yes rather than, you know, get out of here, you little peasant man who paid $59 to see me sing like crap 40 years down the road. Anyways, fast forward 6 years. Fast forward 6 or so years, 95.5 The Pass is a local radio station in Wasilla. It was ran by a gentleman named Terry. May he rest in peace. He's awesome. He's one of the first guys that gave me my actual shot in radio. So what happened was I was doing karaoke at a local bar, and there was a guy that worked at that radio station named Mike C. Mike C, if you're watching, shout out. Thank you, brother, for all that you do, and good luck on your future endeavors. Mike C was at this bar, and I had a couple of drinks of liquid sunshine, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I want to go up there and talk to this guy. I want to be in radio. I want to see what this is all about. And so I finished my drink and I walked over to him and I said, hey, I was like, you're the guy that does the radio station, right? And he says, yeah, I am. And I was like, I would really like to be in radio. I've got a great voice. Is there any way I could come in and do something for you guys? I thought he would be like, no, get out of here, weirdo. Leave me alone. I'm trying to enjoy my drink. But no, he actually said the opposite. He was like, actually, man, yeah, I'd love to have you come in the studio. So a few days later, I met him down at the studio, which was in a apartment off the Palmer-Wasilla Highway. It was on the bottom floor, and I'll never forget during my show later on when I got hired, you could hear from the kids running upstairs. And every time someone would flush a toilet or do laundry, you'd hear like the from the water. So I would have to wait till after, sometimes after another song to do my cut in, or I'd have to wait completely until those kids were done playing Karate Kid to get done with doing whatever vocal tracks I was doing. Anyway, so I went into the station, and the very first spot I ever recorded on the radio was for Affordable Used Cars. It was an Affordable Cars used car lot, and I did a commercial spot for them. And I don't remember it entirely. It was somewhere along the lines of, come get your next used vehicle at Affordable Used Cars, blah, 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 downtown. And they liked it. Terry liked it. And I got called back, and I started doing some more voice stuff. And after a while, Terry had asked if I'd like to come in and do a show 6 days a week, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays, do the mornings. And my jaw hit the floor. I'd finally gotten to a radio show, to where I wanted to be. And I jumped at it. I did it. I think I did it for a solid year and a half. And then due to some financial issues, they had to lay everybody off. But I still went in. A few of us still went in, actually. It wasn't just me, so I'm not going to take the selfish route on that one. A few of us still went in that worked at that station. And we did some freelance stuff with them. We did stuff for free. We did voices. We did our show. We acted like nothing was wrong. A month later, I got a phone call that Terry had passed away. And he was a fairly young guy, I think late 40s, maybe early 50s, and he had passed away super suddenly, unexpectedly, and the station got shut down. That was very, very devastating. It was, I felt like my dream had got ripped out from under me. I felt like everything I had worked for was kind of just gone. But at the same time, it was super unfortunate what happened to Terry. Him and Mike were the guys that gave me my first shot into actual radio. I'm not sure exactly the timeline, so Josh, if you're out there, correct me. Josh Freifogel, an awesome local guy. Grew up with him in the local metal scene. It was super great growing up with him. He took over 95.5 The Pass and turned it into probably one of the best stations that I've ever listened to, I've ever been a part of. I'm still kind of a part of it to this day. I still do some freelance work for them because I just really enjoy it and I really love it. Well, at this time, I started working at a retail shop, and this was about a year after, and this retail shop owned a radio station. Due to the nature of my situation with that old radio station, I'm just not going to name it because I just don't feel the need to. But this retail that I worked at owned a radio station. And I was like, this is my in right here. I work for them. They work for same bosses. We could kind of make something happen. So I threw my name in the hat. I was like, hey, I work right here. I would love to come in and do stuff with you guys. And they were super awesome. They let me come in and do some stuff. I did some voice things. One of the gentlemen who worked there, he left. And so I kind of took his spot, and I had a show 5 days a week. I was doing the mornings. It was my dream. It was the morning drive. I also did some afternoon stuff when the other lady couldn't show up. Well, due to life and just the nature of how the cookie crumbles, I ended up taking over the station, kind of. I didn't own it or anything. I took over as the program director, the audio engineer, and basically the only guy in the studio. There was a sales guy. He did a lot of the sales. He did a lot of the programming for the commercials, but other than that, I did basically 98% of everything else. I did that for about a year. I posted some really cool videos on social media about it. I was DJ Kid. That was my radio handle. I owned it. I loved it. I did remotes. It was a dream come true. It was something that I had always wanted to do, and I was finally able to do it, and I absolutely loved it. But due to some very unfortunate circumstances, I had to leave the radio station. A lot of people have wanted me to get into it and wanted me to talk about it and start drama about it, but I don't feel like that's healthy for anybody. This year I've been trying to work on my energy and channel things a whole lot differently. Basically, what I can say, or what I'm going to say about it, honestly, is it was a morale thing. There were some things going on in that company that I didn't feel like I was right for. And the sales guy was kind of a dickhead. He was kind of a jerk. He didn't like to treat people nice, and I was kind of getting tired of that. I was kind of getting tired of people who had no idea how radio works, trying to offer advice that was unwanted and unwarranted, basically. There was an individual that came in and had a certain advantage over the rest of us, and I had to leave. I decided to leave and do my own thing. Now that station's doing their own thing. Whatever happens, happens, and I tried getting back into the radio industry recently. I've decided that I took a year off. It's been over a year since I've been at that station. It's been over a year since I've been actively in radio as a full-time or a part-time job. Like I said, I still do freelance stuff for 95.5. I go in and do some vocal work fairly often. I do a lot of the local stuff, some giveaways, which are really, really fun. It keeps me fresh. It keeps me doing exactly what I love to do. One day, I will be back in an actual studio doing your disc jockey and things. It sounds corny, but that's just what I love to do. I'm good at it. I'm good at voices. I like using my voice. I love talking. We're at 22 minutes, and I feel like I could go forever, but we're going to be wrapping it up pretty soon. Anyways, like I said, I tried getting back into the radio industry, doing some disc jockey stuff, daily show stuff, but the reality is the industry in Alaska is way too cliquey. It's based on a who you know, not what you know basis. I could have the best resume in the world, but if I don't know Jim, Jeffy, Bob, then I'm just not going to get a job. And that's something that really sucks. And there's a lot of what I feel false encouragement in the industry. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of, yeah, you've got the talent, you've got the stuff, the spunk, the special spice, you've got what it takes. Woo! But then when it comes time for them to help you or to offer any sort of help into that industry, they act like they don't know you. They kind of turn away and turn into kind of a douche nozzle, and that's something that I've kind of run into. Also, we're just approaching a time where the older generation needs to understand and needs to be okay with new talent and new ideas, and to not be afraid of that. I see a lot of that, especially in the music industry and the media industry in Alaska. There's a lot of people who just don't want to welcome the new generation, and that's okay. That's all right. I'm the kind of person that I'm going to do it whether people tell me not to or anyways. That's why I created my own show. That's why I created the Drumchatta vlogcast, is so I could basically talk about all the things that people don't want to talk about the touchy subjects, bring logic to a feelings fight, if you will, with respect, by the way. We're going to keep all of our discussions and all of our discrepancies and things kind of not just respectful. That's exactly how we're going to do it. Basically, that's why I created this show, is my outlet to talk about all the music stuff, and I can't wait. We're going to be talking about so much cool stuff. I think on the next episode, we are going to be talking about my drum music history. I've got a few different things coming down the line. Thank you so much for being here for the first episode. It was kind of weird. I know we're approaching 25 minutes. That's kind of where I wanted to be for each episode. And also, shameless plugs. That's right, baby. I am in a band. I play in a band called Cold Fusion. We are a cover style band. We've been playing around the state for the past 5 or 6 years. We play everything from top 40s, pop, rock, classic, country, dance, you name it. we have the stuff to get people moving on the dance floor. June 24th, we're going to be playing Music in the Park in Wasilla. It is an outstanding, incredible event that happens every Friday in June. There's live music, food vendors, food trucks, other sorts of vendors selling all sorts of local knickknacks and remedies and all sorts of things that you can imagine. Clothes, apparel. It is really great. The weather. Do I have any wood? Oh, yeah. Weather is going to be great permitting. So June 24th, come check us out. Then July 22nd, we are playing the Arc of Anchorage's 65th Anniversary Beach Bash. That's right, the Arc of Anchorage, if you don't know what it is. The Arc of Anchorage is an organization to help adults with special needs and special abilities find their way in the community and help them to become awesome functioning members of our society. We played it last year, and it was probably one of the best shows I've ever played. Having people dance and sing and come up on stage and just interact is one of the most lovely things that can happen to live music. Except if you're one of those annoying damn kids stringing the guitars and hitting my drums while we're taking a water break. Moms, dads, control your crotch goblins. It's not that hard. A little bit of respect goes a long way, and we play a lot better. If we want kids on stage, we'll have them come up on stage. But anyways, check us out there July 22nd, Arc of Anchorage 65th Anniversary Beach Bash. Also, that's with that zero editing, baby. Also, we're going to be playing the local Watering Holes, Klondike, Schwabenhof mugshot all summer long. Check us out on our Facebook, Cold Fusion, AK Band, for all those dates as well. Plus, August 29th, we're going to be playing at the Alaska State Fair at the Sloosh Box. It's my third time playing there. I absolutely love it. It is always an awesome time. People dance, sing, they throw peanut shells on the floor. They drink their beer. They get rowdy. It is awesome. One of those shows where you get them nice and drunk and put the tip jar out front. Anyways, check us out on Facebook. Cold Fusion on Facebook. Facebook.com/AK Cold Fusion AK Band. Also, I'm on Instagram. You can follow all of my drumming adventures. I'm going to start posting more voice stuff on that Instagram as well. Instagram search bar, Drummer Dude Guy. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed, please like, share, follow, and subscribe. Feels so weird saying that, but it's what I want. It's what I want to do, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see something talked about on the show, once again, jump into those DMs. Everyone, have yourself a fantastic evening. I'm Hunter, aka Drummer Dude Guy. This is the Drumchatta vlogcast for musicians and music lovers alike. Stay rockin' and keep those horns high.